The first 72 hours inside Pelican Bay, what inmates never expect. They say the first 72 hours inside Pelican Bay State Prison feel longer than the entire sentence that follows. Because the moment that steel door slams behind you, you learn a truth every inmate discovers too late. Pelican Bay doesn't break you slowly. It breaks you instantly. Inside these concrete walls is a world built on silence, paranoia, and a kind of fear that forces men to rethink their entire existence within minutes. This isn't a prison where you adapt. This is a prison that dismantles you, piece by piece, before you even know what's happening. Today, we follow the story of a man who walked in believing he understood prison life, only face a reality so brutal, so engineered to crush the human mind, that he would spend the next 3 days fighting not for survival, but for sanity. This is the first 72 hours inside Pelican Bay, and the shock inmates never see coming. Arrival, the white bus and the dead man's march. The journey begins on what inmates call the white bus, a rolling coffin that transports the most dangerous, most feared, and most politically complex inmates in California. Hands cuffed, waist chained, ankles shackled, the kind of restraint reserved for the worst. No one speaks. No one breathes too loud, because everyone knows the bus only stops for two things: Pelican Bay or a body bag. As the bus rolls deeper into Crescent City's fog-covered wilderness, the air changes. There are no houses, no traffic, no sound except wind slicing through the redwood trees like a blade, and then, rising out of the forest like something unnatural, Pelican Bay appears. A slab of gray concrete so massive and so silent, it looks less like a prison, and more like a government experiment no one talks about. The guards unload each inmate one by one. No eye contact, no warnings, just commands delivered with robotic precision. For our incoming inmate, this is the moment he realizes something chilling. This place isn't designed to hold men. It's designed to erase them. The processing gauntlet, where sounds go to die. Inside processing, the temperature drops nearly 10 degrees. Metal clinks echo off the walls, and fluorescent lights flicker with an electricity that never seems stable. Like even the wiring is afraid of this place. Guards move him through a series of stations. Fingerprints, photos, medical checks, strip searches that feel less like security and more like psychological disassembly. But the real shock comes after paperwork. A guard leans in, almost whispering, as if the building itself is listening. Your next 72 hours will decide whether you break or bend. Most men break. He's given a thin mattress, a blanket, clothing marked PBSB, and a small brown bag holding his essentials, a toothbrush the size of a thumb, a soap bar that smells like chemicals, and a roll of toilet paper that seems intentionally rationed. Then comes a walk, a long corridor known among staff as the freeze tunnel. Every step feels colder. Every echo feels heavier. And in that tunnel, inmates say they hear things, not noises, not voices, but something worse. The reality that they are completely, absolutely cut off from the world. First contact with a shoe. The air that doesn't move. Pelican Bay Security Housing Unit, the SHU, is a place designed for extreme isolation. Inmates call it the box. Guards call it control. Psychologists call it a human experiment. The first time our inmate steps into the SHU wing, he notices something deeply unsettling. There is no sound. None. Not footsteps. Not voices. Not even the hum of ventilation. It feels like the air itself is refusing to exist. The cells are small, windowless, built from steel and cement, painted white, but not the clean kind. The kind of white that burns the eyes and reflects every painful fluorescent light. He is placed in a pod where each cell faces a blank wall. He cannot see another human being. He cannot hear another human being. In this environment, the mind becomes its own enemy, and Pelican Bay knows this. Within minutes, he already feels the pressure, a psychological weight, so heavy that every breath feels like it costs something. The first night, the time that doesn't pass. Night inside the SHU is not darkness. It is artificial daylight, a fluorescent never turned off, burning down on you even when your body begs for sleep. The hours crawl. 5 minutes feel like 20. An hour feels like 4. No clocks, no voices, no human contact. Inmates say the first night is when the mind starts betraying you, playing tricks, inventing sounds, creating whispers that aren't there. Our inmate lies on his thin mattress, staring at the ceiling that seems to be staring back. He tries to sleep, but his brain won't allow it. It has no sense of time, no sense of safety, no sense of place. And then, just after midnight, a sudden, sharp noise pierces the silence. A scream, muffled, distant, but unmistakably human. Then another, and another. Inmates say the first night inside Pelican Bay, someone always breaks. You just pray it isn't you. Morning of day 1. Breakfast through the slot. The first meal inside Pelican Bay's SHU arrives through a slot cut into the steel door. There is no face, no voice, only a hand sliding in a tray containing what looks like food but tastes like punishment. Our inmate takes a bite, instantly understanding what the veterans mean when they say, the SHU diet is designed to keep you alive, not fed. Powdered eggs, stale bread, watery oatmeal, a fruit that tastes like it was harvested too early or too late. The tray is removed 30 seconds later, whether you finish or not. Because here, food is not nourishment, it's control. He tries to speak to the guard delivering the tray, just to hear another human voice, but the guard ignores him completely, not out of cruelty, but because acknowledging an inmate is considered a weakness here. The first interrogation, what they really want to know. By midday, 2 officers arrive at his cell. No explanation, just one command. Stand back, hands visible. He is cuffed with a food slot, escorted down a hallway, and placed into what inmates call the ice box, a small, freezing room with a metal chair bolted to the floor. The interrogation begins, but it's not the kind of questioning he expects. They don't ask about his crime. They don't ask about gangs. They don't ask about plans to escape or cause trouble. They ask about something far more unsettling. How are you feeling? Any thoughts you can't control? Seeing or hearing anything unusual yet? Why? Because Pelican Bay doesn't just monitor inmate behavior. It monitors inmate breakdown. The officers write notes, exchange glances, then leave without another word. And as he is escorted back to his cell, one thought haunts him. Why are they expecting him to lose his mind so quickly? And what do they know about this place that he doesn't? When the silence moves, the thing no one prepares for, by the evening of day 1, the silence begins to shift. In the SHU, silence is not stillness. Silence is movement. Whispers travel through vents. Footsteps echo in strange patterns. Even your own breathing feels like someone else's. Our inmate sits on his bunk, listening. But what he hears makes his blood run cold. A tapping sound. Slow, deliberate, rhythmic. Inmates call it the Pelican Morse. A secret communication system between cells, tapping patterns on the walls to send coded messages. But tonight, this tapping isn't a message. It's a warning he cannot yet decipher, a warning meant for him. The breakdown in cell 183. At around what might be midnight, a sound erupts in the tier, a sound every inmate dreads. A breakdown. Cell 183. Someone screaming, begging to be let out, begging for the lights to turn off, begging for the voices to stop. He bangs on his door. He claws at the walls. He sobs until his voice breaks into raw, animal noises. The guards don't intervene. They watch. They wait. Because in the SHU, a breakdown is not an emergency. It's data. Inmates say the first time you hear someone lose their mind in the SHU, something shifts in your own soul, like the prison is showing you a mirror of your future. For our inmate, that scream is the moment the final wall inside him cracks. If he doesn't get out of the SHU soon, he knows he'll be next. The final hours, the test no one passes clean. The final stretch of the 72 hours isn't a test of strength. It's a test of identity. The inmate begins hearing his mother's voice, his childhood home, arguments he never resolved, memories he thought were buried. Isolation pulls everything out of him. Guilt, fear, hope, regret, until he feels like the cell isn't a physical place anymore. It's his mind, turned inside out. He sits on the floor and forces himself to breathe, in for 4 seconds. Hold for 2. Out for 4. It's the only thing stopping him from joining the screams in cell 183. Minutes later or hours, he can't tell. Footsteps approach. Keys rattle. A guard speaks for the first time in 3 days. Pack your stuff. Just like that, the 72 hours are over. But he doesn't feel relieved. He doesn't feel free. He feels hollow. Because Pelican Bay didn't test him. It rewired him. Release from the shoe, the light that doesn't feel real. When the steel door finally opens, the hallway light feels like sunlight, even though it's just another fluorescent bulb. The air feels different. The sounds feel foreign. The world outside the SHU looks familiar, but feels wrong. He steps out with shaky legs, escorted by 2 guards who don't look at him and don't need to. They've seen this expression thousands of times. The SHU stare. Emotionless, blank, drained. As they uncuff him, one guard mutters under his breath, "Welcome to Pelican Bay. It only gets harder from here." And in that moment, for the first time, the inmate understands. The SHU wasn't a punishment. It was an introduction. The truth no one tells you about Pelican Bay. The first 72 hours inside Pelican Bay are not about discipline, not about order, not even about control. They're about breaking the human spirit before it has a chance to resist. And for many inmates, those 3 days determine everything that follows. Some never recover. Some never return to who they were. Some never even make it out. For our inmate, the shock wasn't the isolation, wasn't the silence, wasn't the screams echoing through concrete. The real shock was realizing how quickly a place like this can reshape a mind, how fast the human brain bends under pressure, how thin the line truly is between sanity and survival. And if there's one thing every inmate learns the moment they walk back into general population, it's this. Pelican Bay doesn't change you over time. It changes you instantly. The moment that door closes, the breaking begins. And the question every man must answer is simple. How long can you last before Pelican Bay decide the answer for you?